magical shop. How can I help you today? You have a voucher for a divination reading from our friend. How wonderful. So, the way my divination readings work is that first we're going to choose a deck that you would like the reading to be done with. Then, after that, we're going to choose the specific reading that I'm going to do. And then after that, we'll do the reading. Okay? So I have 3 options here to show you. So I'll show you the box, the cards, tell you a little bit about them, see if maybe the author has a little piece of information about the cards and the deck. And then you can just choose whichever one you like, whichever one maybe resonates with you. Exactly. Okay, so the first one I have is called Become an Oracle. So, it says Become an Oracle, a magical guide to divine connection, 2nd edition. And this was created by Owasama Toria, with art by Anastasia Telegina. And Owasama also has a small business called Core Magic, so that's also written here on the back. So, the picture on the box is really beautiful. We have a snake surrounded by leaves and flowers and a couple of animals. So, on the back of the box here it says, awaken your intuition and receive guidance and wisdom from celestial, galactic and magical realms. As you connect with their high vibrations through light and colour, you will feel more supported, aligned and expanded. Interacting with these 70 cards will help you to develop your psychic abilities, get accurate guidance, and to have healthy relationships, to bring healing and to manifest what you are seeking. This deck will help you to cultivate a strong relationship with these archangels, ascended masters, goddesses, and planets. They will help you on your spiritual journey to remember your own multi-dimensionality. So you can see that back here with a couple example cards. So if we open this is a beautiful 2-part box, very large. And then there's some printing on the inside of the box here, box lid. That says, you are not alone during this ascension process. Connect to these units of consciousness because they can help and guide you. So that extra attention to detail is really nice. It really helps make the box feel more exquisite, luxurious, just that extra thought that went into putting some text inside the box here. So now that we have the box open, this is the guidebook right here. So it has the same art as on the cover and the same text, but it just says companion book instead of 2nd edition. And also on the back of the book here, it has the same text that was on the back of the box. So in the guidebook there is quite a bit of introductory information, but there's just one specific piece I'd like to read out to you. So it reads, an oracle was a priest or priestess who practiced divination in ancient Greece and were in contact with gods and goddesses, providing prophecies and guidance. This word comes from the Latin word aurere, meaning to speak. With this oracle, we invite you to become an oracle, to learn how to vibrate with the being you connect with, instead of just focusing on the words we share with you. And I think that's a really interesting approach. And it brings in some of that vibrational energy. Now this guidebook does have an English section at the start and then a French section in the back. So 2 languages in this guidebook. same box you can have the cards and the guidebook without the cards rattling around. And there's a very nice pull ribbon here that you can use to pull the cards up and out. So there is kind of an extra card on here that just says open the gates. And it's quite nice. I always leave it on the top there, but I don't use it in any of the readings. So the design on the back of the cards here is quite similar to the design on the front of the box. It's just a little shortened, but it's the same. The snake with the beautiful flowers and leaves and hands in there. But then in the centre we have this nice golden unicorn with like rays of light shining from them. So I'm going to give these a shuffle and I'll pull a couple of example cards so you can see what they look like. And I'll also read the meanings from inside the guidebook. Number 43, Spirit of the River, meaning movement, dreams and nourishment. It's a really beautiful drawing of a woman. There's lots of blue shades, a little purple and a little pink. Her back is to us and she has beautiful, gorgeous, long blue hair. And she kind of appears to be hugging herself a little with her hands being shown down here. She has her arms wrapped around herself. So we'll have a look in the guidebook for the meaning of that one, number 43. So, the river is a lovely, gentle spirit. It likes movement and helps carry our intentions and energies to the ocean. It can also be impacted by humans' emotions, minds, and debris. It is linked to movement and meridians. Interesting. So let's draw another one. Just the next one off the top. We actually have number 41, the Mountain Spirit, meaning foundations and higher perspective. As you can see, it's a beautiful green mountain that at the top turns into a woman. Lots of shades of green and some blue. It seems to be a moonrise to me. The sky is quite dark but with lots of clouds. There are also some spirits in a faded white around our mountain spirit there. So number 41, just 2 cards prior to that one I just read. Number 41, Mountain Spirit. The spirit of the mountain can give strength by connecting to the earth and at the same time connecting to the stars. Mountains come from other dimensions and are spirits filled with love and wisdom. It is there that the initiations are held, that the vital energy of the earth is expressed through the volcanoes, that one reaches to the highest spheres. Their help is crucial, and to be able to access their power, a solid bond must be established, based on respect and recognition that everything is alive. Mountains are associated with strength, connection, initiation, solidity, foundation, and a higher perspective. Let's pull a couple more. So the next one is number 24, Athena, meaning strategy and protection. this being of light who embodies the cosmic consciousness of truth. Goddess of war, weapons, thought, military strategy, craftsmen, artists, and schoolmasters. Athena is also associated with wisdom, protection, conception, and strategy. The next example is number 61, the Sun, meaning ultimate truth and the culmination of consciousness. So these sets of cards that represent the planets and stars like the Sun are really beautiful. They're kind of set in space. So there's a lot of black with some faint shining stars. And then there's a woman in the centre who appears to be surrounded by like fire and flames, but also is kind of a part of them and is them at the same time. That's showing our Sun. Okay, so number 61. There we go. The Sun in the tarot card represents clarity, awareness, and presence. When this card generally appears in the reading, it generally refers to freedom, joy, enthusiasm, good news, and success, as well as the fulfillment of a dream or a desire. The Sun is the ultimate truth, the light, the source. If the Sun appears in a reading, it also announces an upcoming transformation, a growth in business, or a projection of dreams into reality. So let's do one more and then I'll show you the next deck. So this last one is the Bear constellation, number 64, meaning adaptation, reprogramming, and freedom to fly. So again, it's one of the ones set kind of in space as the background. So there's lots of swirling colours, beautiful stars shining in the distance. And then we have a polar bear wearing some armour right in the centre there. Number 64. Called Ursa Major, the Great Bear, in antiquity, it was one of the original 48 constellations listed by Ptolemy in the 2nd century AD. The key theme for this constellation is adapting to cycles. From our journeys, we discovered that this constellation prepares the soul before arriving to the planet. It is in this constellation that we realize that we are essential to earthly life. If you have this constellation in your reading, it suggests developing your masculine side to be of service to the feminine. It is also about healing sound, bringing harmony and calm. It encourages you to feel free and prepares you for a big transition. I like that one, it has quite a bit of information with it. It gives you some direct meanings about the masculine side and healing sound and preparation for a big transition. Beautiful. Alrighty, so we'll pop these cards back. 36 cards, and there is one additional card that is unnumbered, and I'll tell you about that when I have a look in the guidebook. Let the authors see the meaning behind that one. So on the back it says, this deck was lovingly created by Lachlan and Melissa Wotherspoon. We hope you enjoy it. That is the front, the kind of white with black ink and the beautiful gold foil stamping in these veins. On the side it also says the gold that heals just there. So this is a magnetic book style box. So we'll lift that up. And then on the inside it says, wishing you a beautiful journey. With kind of a line of that gold foil going through and changing a couple of the letters in the word beautiful to also be gold. So, taking out the small guidebook. First, have a look at that. Very small, perfect bound, same as the previous book. It says Aurum Little White Book on the front. So I'd like to read you a little bit about the deck as written by the authors. So it says, my son and I completed this deck together as I waited for my low-rider Taxon Tarot to finish its print run. When a project is out of your hands, you put something else in your hands. We hope that this deck becomes a helpful go-to for you and a mainstay in your toolbox. I have always been fascinated by the centuries-old Japanese practice of repairing pottery with gold, known as kintsugi. Repairing something and rendering it even more beautiful with its embedded story was something I wanted to embody in this deck. So that's the theme of the gold lines kind of running through the cover, and slight spoiler throughout the cards as well. So I have added an optional unnumbered person card, as the system comes from a history where a gender binary was the norm. The person in this deck is based on a friend of mine, Amy, who is an ally, a member of the LGBTQ+ community, and a strong advocate for people of diverse abilities. The child in this deck is Amy's son, Emmett. Both Amy and Emmett live with Marfan syndrome, which is a rare condition that affects connective tissue. Amy and Emmett will experience a lifetime of monitoring and life-saving surgeries. They are, in a sense, like kintsugi. And it says, please visit marfan.org to learn more about this condition, and I believe you can also give donations there as well. So this is a Lenormand deck, so different than the last one I showed you, which was an oracle deck. So if you don't know, Lenormand is similar to tarot in the way that it is a set number of cards with set meanings, same as with the tarot. You have the major arcana and then the minor arcana. So Lenormand is similar in that it has a set structure, but in Lenormand there are 36 cards. And Lenormand also kind of encourages you to string together phrases or even sentences using the meanings of the cards in the combinations that they come in. So it's like a slightly different reading style than tarot. So it's very interesting. So we'll have a look at the cards now. So these cards are quite small, and they are kind of designed to be able to do what's called a grand tableau with Lenormand, where you lay out all of the cards and you gain special meanings from the associations and which cards are next to each other, which are in diagonal lines. So having smaller cards is quite helpful for that if you're going to lay out all 36 cards together. So the cards have gold edges all over. The back is this kind of like black ink splattered on white, which I think is really nice. And then on the front they have a similar theme with the backgrounds being kind of ink splattered. And then you have the illustration with the gold running through it, like the kintsugi that was mentioned in the guidebook. And then the card name and the number that it is. So we'll give these a shuffle and I'll pull a couple example cards for you. So just picking off the top, the first card is the Sun at number 31. So you can see the image of the sun in the centre with the gold running through it. So in the guidebook, number 31, there we go. It corresponds to the Ace of Diamonds. This is a very favourable card to get and points to happiness, warmth, kindness, luck, success, something good coming to fruition, energy and accomplishment. The closer to the significator card, the greater the impact. Take advantage of this positive card and note how it diminishes the impact of cards that have a negative meaning. So we'll pick another one. The first card, Rider number 1. So you can see there, it is a person wearing some kind of old-timey gear and riding on a horse. So, Rider corresponds to the 9 of Hearts. This is a card of movement and the arrival of messages or people. It can indicate movement of energy, so be sure that energy is moving in a positive direction. The Rider is fast, and if there has been a period of stagnation, that is coming to an end. Things are happening soon. This is a card of good news, unless it's surrounded by something negative. So I like that it gives you that reminder to look at the cards around it and that it can change the meaning. So the next one is Child. So this will be Emmett, which is Amy's child, that they were discussing in the introduction to the guidebook. So you can see Emmett there. The gold line running through the card. So the meaning of this card, it corresponds to the Jack of Spades. This card can indicate a child, a youth, or a youthful nature, someone who is new at something, a fresh start, and approaching a situation with a willingness to take risks and embrace the unknown. It can also indicate immaturity, pregnancy, and creativity, depending on the cards that surround it. And then last one is Birds, number 12. So we've got 3 birds going to be sitting on a wire. And the one on the far left is like screeching at the other 2, who seem to not really mind so much. I love that. Gives me a little giggle. So number 12. Oh, and that's actually one before Child. Interesting. birds correspond to the Seven of Diamonds. Generally, the card represents words, speech, bickering, meetings, and groups of people. That makes sense with the multiple birds, especially the bickering with the one bird screaming at the other two birds. This card can also indicate the need to talk with a friend or a relative to sort something out. If the card is located close to the significator card, a discussion is important. If it is far away, it could indicate gossip. Usually more than two people are involved. So super interesting. Okay, so we'll go ahead and pop these away. Also, the printing of the box also continues inside, including with the gold, which is a really nice touch. And if this is something you'd like for yourself, this deck is available for purchase from the creator at their small business called Lonely Raven Tarot. So the last deck I'm going to show you is called the Lux Ex Umbra Tarot. And it's in this very nice matte black box with some UV coated text, little stars, a sun and a moon. You can see the moon there on that side and the sun there on that side. So the UV coating is what allows it to be shiny while the rest remains matte. So this was created by Pauline A and Bruno K, and they have the small business called Mystic, which is spelled with 2 I's. And the only text other than that on this deck is on the back here where it says light out of shadow, which is the meaning of Lux Ex Umbra. It means light out of shadow. Now this is in a tuck box, which is not my favourite kind of boxes. They can be difficult to open, especially if you have any kind of mobility issues in the hands. Some can even have the tendency to rip when you're trying to open them. So far I haven't had any problems with this one, so it could just be lower quality or just simply bad luck. But I much prefer to see decks in something like a magnetic or a 2-part box to just completely avoid this issue and to help with mobility. So we'll have a look at the guidebook first. So it simply just says Lux Ex Umbra on the front, and there's a key on the back. So again, it's matte black with some UV coating, allowing those items to become shiny and stand out. So with this deck, on the cards, all the text is in French, and then in the guidebook, the French portion is in the front, and there's an English section halfway through with the same information. So, a little introduction to the deck. The tarot, a centuries-old tradition, represents the structure of the universe. The 22 major arcana, from Mart, 0, to the world, 21, are composed of archetypal images that symbolize the different stages of an initiatory path. Derived from Neoplatonic philosophy, the term archetype refers to the universal patterns found throughout all cultures, myths, and dreams. Thanks to its rich figurative language, the tarot connects to our collective and personal unconscious. It leads each person to introspection and understanding of their psyche. Lights and shadows. The Lux Ex Umbra Tarot deck draws its inspiration from the world's magic. Its 78 illustrations were created in digital painting. From Latin lux, meaning light, and umbra, meaning shadow. Beyond fortune-telling, tarot is the ideal tool to support a projective work. The notion of shadow, which was defined by Carl Gustav Jung, founder of analytical psychology, represents the positive or negative parts of our personality that we have repressed. The recognition and reintegration of the shadow can help us evolve and develop our spirituality. Mirror of the unconscious, tarot promotes self-discovery and self-knowledge. Each card of the deck contains its share of lights, upright, and shadows reversed. It's a really nice little introduction about the deck and about the creator's views on the tarot. So it's a really nice introduction to this deck. So this deck is based on the Tarot de Marcel tradition, not the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition. So some of the meanings can be different, the images and representation can be different, so you just need to keep that in mind if we're used to the RWS system, that this is slightly different. So the card backs are that same matte black with UV coating, but this time the UV coating is in stars and constellations that you can see on the back there. They're really beautiful, and I especially love the crescent moons as well. Now the edges of these cards are matte black, which is very interesting. I think I've only seen that maybe once before on a deck, or on one other deck in my collection. Alrighty, so let's give these a shuffle and pull a couple example cards. The first one here is the Seven of Swords. You see, there's kind of a dark space background with some swirls of colour. And there's almost like a wind swirl that has the swords caught up in it. So as you can see on this, the only text is at the top here saying number 7, and you can clearly see that it's swords, so it's the Seven of Swords. So in this guidebook it tells you generally some information about the suits, and then tells you about the individual numbers and what they generally mean. So this is a deck where you need to have a bit of knowledge about the Tarot de Marcel before you begin working. I would not recommend this as a beginner deck. So it says here, the sword is a masculine symbol associated with the air element. It represents the realm of the spirit. It cuts in deep to reveal the trials and struggles to be faced. Also has the meanings intellect, idea, decision, spirituality, surpassing oneself, and tyranny. And the meaning of number 7 is success, perfection, harmony, and destruction. So this next card is number 12, Le Pendu. The pronunciation is probably wrong, but we try our best. So you can see on this card, it's a cone incense that is slowly being burned with the smoke rising up in kind of a very dark background. You essentially can't see anything. It has a real focus on that cone meaning in the book. It says the hanged man frees himself by accepting the sacrifice. From the tip to the base, he slowly burns, and his volutes of smoke rise towards the spiritual world. Upright or in the light position, it can mean renunciation, liberation, devotion, and meditation. But in the reversed or shadow position, it can mean passivity, confinement, apathy, and confusion. And this next card, I love the art of it, although it's not a very nice card. It's number 16, La Maison 2, which is the tower in English. So we can see a kind of desert landscape with a, I'm going to assume, setting sun in the background. And we have a tower here that's on fire. It's starting to fall apart. There's something awful going on there. And then we have these black birds just flying across. In a desert under the eternal sun, the tower is burning. This edifice shelters the ego, and its destruction reveals that it is but dust in infinity. So in the upright or light position can mean change, self-questioning, warning, and rebuilding. And in the shadow position it means upheaval, collapse, fear of change, and disenchantment. So, last card for this deck. We have René de Deniers and Tarot. So on this card, it's a lot of green with some kind of stars mixed in there, and the symbol for the astrological sign Taurus in there. Now the translation for this is Queen of Pentacles, and Tarot is Taurus. And we can also see the symbol for Earth at the top there. So, the guidebook says that the meanings of the court cards have also been enriched by astrological correspondences. So I'll read the meanings of the denier or pentacle. So the guidebook says that they're a feminine symbol associated with the earth element. It represents all that is material, structural, and solid. The energy of this suit is that of abundance, but not all wealth is necessarily material. So the meaning of earth is materiality, finance, security, stability, responsibility, and imbalance. So for the court cards, it says that the queen is attentive and protects her element. She experiments all female potentialities. The Queen of Pentacles is represented by Taurus, the first sign of earth. She is generous, but without excess, and embodies material security. The light or upright position means stability, protection, abundance, and practicality. And the shadow or reversed position means uncertainty, disloyalty, greed, and self-promotion. So we'll put these cards away. version or reprinting of the second edition is on the way. And more information can be found through the Small Business Mystic, again with 2 eyes, if you're interested in purchasing it for yourself. So, of the decks I've shown you today, which do you kind of resonate with the most? Which do you maybe like the most and would like to use for your reading? You think they become an oracle? The first one I showed you, the oracle deck. Beautiful. All of these are fine, excellent choices. But I'm happy that one of them resonated with you. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little bit of a tidy up and then we'll discuss